Hello, 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 and welcome to Sharing Your Story. I'm Deborah J, and welcome to the show. I have author Angel Charmaine, and I will go ahead and bring her on, and she will introduce herself. Here we go. And here we go. Just bear with me 1 second, and we have a little snafu. Here we go. There we go. Author Angel Charmaine, you have the floor, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Deborah J. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well, and how are you doing this evening?
I am doing well. There's no need to complain about anything, right?
That's right. Amen. Amen. Yes, ma'am. So, let Miss Angel Charmaine, let's go ahead and just tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, um, my name is Angel Charmaine Wright, but my pseudonym is Angel Charmaine. That's what I write as an author. I have been a published author since January 10th of 2018. I have four titles, two books that are part of my conversational narrative series, a Bible study workbook, and I also have a lined journal. Um, I'm the mom of four amazing humans I call my sons.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there are lots of other things that I could say, but right now, I think that's probably most important for this conversation.
Okay. Right. I know I've often heard you call them your mighty men of valor, right?
Absolutely are my mighty men of valor. They
Ye-
absolutely are. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. All right. We'll go again and get started. When did you first realize that you wanted to be a writer?
Well, I've never really wanted to be an author. I've been a writer for a long time. I taught English
Okay.
many years. I've
Mm-hmm.
trained teachers. I've English has been my thing since I
Mm-hmm.
got out of college. I also did really well in English when I was in school, but I'm more of a reader, actually. I'm so
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed reading books. I was never really a writer. But
Okay.
in 2018, I had an experience with the Spirit of the Living God, and I was led to share in the form of a book. And so that's what led me into the space as an author.
Okay. Okay. So you were more of a reader versus a writer.
Yes,
Okay.
I started reading. Oh, gosh, I remember the Ramona books and
Mhm.
all those, the Babysitters Club, all those things,
Right.
those books when I was younger. And then at about, I'm going to say probably about 13, my aunt noticed that I liked to read, and she would
Mhm.
read romance novels. Danielle Steele was what she
Yes, I remember Danielle Steele.
and so my aunt would bring me her Danielle Steele books,
Mhm.
and I would just read them. And so that is when that was sort of my introduction to
Mhm.
adult literature outside of, young adult fiction and children's books.
Mhm.
Danielle Steele.
Okay. You were reading them, but didn't even quite know what they meant, but you were reading.
But back then, Danielle Steele, her books were not
They weren't racy. Right.
sensual, and
Right.
they're not erotica or things of
Mhm.
that nature. They're more sweet romance
Right.
type
Right.
of books. And right
Mhm.
at 13, it's just people are falling in love,
Right.
and I say all the time, it never dawned on me, and it didn't bother me. I actually shared this in one of my books that
Mhm.
it never really made a difference to me that Danielle Steele was white, and that
Right.
all those women falling in love were white, and those cowboys were white, and
Right.
this little black girl. I never dawned on me. It never was an issue. It was
Mhm.
just good reads. I visited so many places I never thought I would visit in those books as a young black
Mhm.
girl, from the projects. And
Right.
now I have seen many of those places that I read about in Daniel's
Hmm.
book. So yeah, absolutely. I was definitely a reader before I was ever a writer.
Okay, okay. So I guess when you say you visit a lot of those places, so did you kind of sort of build your bucket list from reading the books?
No, I didn't build a bucket list. I think it's more of the no, I didn't build a bucket list, but I believe that a lot of times when you're reading and you're
Mhm.
experiencing, you're living these experiences, there's a piece of you that kind of wants to see those places.
Mhm.
And I think life just kind of led me into the places. And you know what? I didn't even really think about it until I've driven cross country 7 times.
Right.
And on one of those trips,
Mhm.
I was able to stop in South Dakota.
Okay.
In that moment of getting out of my vehicle, I wanted to kind of walk on the land with my bare feet. And it
Mhm.
kind of dawned on me like, I've read about South Dakota in books. I
Okay.
read about Montana
Mhm.
in still books. This land I've read about cowboys and and beautiful women falling in love on ranches in these places. It kind of hit me that
Right.
I'm living, breathing, walking in the on the land that I read about as a little girl. So yeah, I didn't create a bucket list, but just kind of worked out that way.
Right. Kind of like some memories. You created some memories, basically.
Right?
Right. Okay, that's kind of cool. Things you don't think about, but you go through. Oh,
Absolutely.
right. Okay. So I guess let me see. So being that you okay, so you started there, so you started from there reading and fast forward living life, you kind of just went through your life just reading and things like that. But then you did took so long to write your first book. So tell us a little bit about that. Well, I know you said the Lord led you to write your first book. So you just were just living life and just reading and never thought to write until the end.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure at some point I had the thought
Mhm.
to write. I
Right.
think at some point most of us think about what it would be like to write our story. And hello everyone. I see
Yes,
everyone.
hello everyone. Yes, they're chiming in.
Hey, y'all. Hello. Good evening. How y'all doing? Uh,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I just never had a desire to be an author.
Okay.
When the Lord led me into this space and I knew that I was going to be writing a book,
Mhm.
the issue that I had was my story's not over.
Right.
I was 40 years old and I felt like I can't write a memoir because I'm still in my story. I wouldn't be able to finish it. Like
Right.
story, I felt like I was in the middle of my story. And so I was taking a shower, having a shower revelation,
Right.
the pieces in one of my books,
Mhm.
shower revelation, and I just got this understanding, from the Lord. I heard in my soul, it's more than one way to skin a cat.
Right.
So I'm like, wait a minute, what does that even mean? And so during this shower revelation, I get this kind of aha moment
Mhm.
where instead of writing a memoir, I can share my life as I'm living it.
Mhm.
Because during this time where I had this experience with the Spirit of the Lord, He shared with me how He would use me, that He would be using me to allow women to see His hand and His heart in real time.
Okay. Okay.
So women would be helped while I was going through things. So my life
Mhm.
is an open book for to help women.
Right.
So in writing and creating the conversational narrative series, what I decided to do was write. Each book that I release has 10 short pieces of prose.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who may not know what prose is like short stories or essays, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I call them conversational narratives, because they're written in conversational tone. Now that you all are hearing me, when you read my work, you will hear my voice.
Right.
And so each book that I release has 10 short pieces of prose.
Mm-hmm.
Each book is themed about something that I've been through in my life. And so the very first book, Speak with Chic, One Woman, 10 Truths, it is a self-love, self-acceptance book.
Mm-hmm.
So the truths that I'm sharing are truths that I had to live through and that I had to release. So I don't write books every year, every month. I know some people just kind of push them out, but I
Right.
write books when the Lord says it is time to release something
Mm-hmm.
from my life. And so the second book, when I met him, it is a book about cycles and relationships.
Right. Okay.
It has 10 short stories. So instead of writing a memoir that's 2, 3, 400 pages about my life and all the things, what I was led to do was to let my readers go on a life journey with me,
Okay. Okay.
instead of saying, this is what I did, here are the lessons that I learned. My readers are reading my life as I'm living it in real time.
Right. In real time. Okay. And they see the experiences that you go through.
Right.
Right. Okay. They can see the experiences that you go through and say, okay, yeah, she's going through this now. And I see her now from what she went through. And they can see exactly what you went through and see that you're making it through. Right. Okay. So like a teaching tool. So you're still a teacher.
I'm still a teacher.
Right.
I tell people all the time, I don't, even though I know I'm an author,
Mm-hmm.
because I've published works, written works,
Mm-hmm.
I believe there are different types of authors. And some people are bona fide writers. Like, it's what they do. They can push out a book. They can sit down, right, and just
Mm-hmm.
go away on hiatus for a month and come back with a whole book written or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, I am an inspirational conversationalist.
Mm-hmm.
I've been called to help people heal through conversations, help people build resilience through conversations. And so I write books to help facilitate those conversations.
Right.
And I think there's a difference. Some people just write books because they like writing books, and
Mm-hmm.
like author Latoya McElroy, Dr. McElroy, she put out a book every. I'm like, golly, we had a Halloween book, we had a Christmas book, we had a
That's why I highlighted her comment just there because
yeah,
firecracker is what we call her.
we got like I'm like, good gracious, who's moving that much? I don't write like that. So when
Mhm.
I release a book, it is going to be a powerhouse of a book that is going to be
Mhm.
more of a resource tool
Mhm.
than
Right.
it is, you know, like, oh, I read it, I put it aside, I don't pick it up again. Most women who read my books read them over and over.
And take notes
They
and
take
write.
notes, and yeah, that's like, oh, I read this last year and I feel like I need to read it again, or so
Right, right, exactly. We're writing and reading and writing again, and like, let me go back to it. Let me go back. Oh, I remember that story when So yeah, your books are definitely self help books,
yeah.
definitely self help books, and they're much needed in different age groups. When you wrote your book, or when you designed, or when you listed it, did you have like a certain age group in mind when you were writing them?
No, no, I don't have a certain age group in mind, but I do know who I've been called
Mhm.
to impact in this world.
Mhm.
Primarily, women in their 30s, between 30s and 60s, are usually the demographic that I've been called to. However, I've been told by people who have read my book or books that they believe that younger women should read them, like
Right.
younger women in their early 20s. and I could definitely see that. I can see
Mhm.
reading my books earlier helping them to not make the same
Right.
of decisions that I made. So I believe that my books can be read by, I would say, women who are probably, I'm going to say 21 and older.
Mhm.
I would not go lower than 21,
Right.
simply because the topics really require maturity.
Mhm. Yes, definitely.
They require a level of maturity. They require a level of life experience
Mhm.
to understand.
Right.
Say 21, maybe even 25, 26
Right.
older. But yeah, typically though, mid 30s plus is usually the demographic who gravitate toward my work.
Right. From life experience
Yeah,
under the belt. Definitely.
others, um, I say if you're a mother, if you're a woman first,
Mhm.
if you're a mother, if you are a believer, if
Yes.
you are someone who deals with self-esteem issues, if you're someone who's dealt with abuse, I mean, just about every woman
Right.
can pick up one of my books or all of them and relate. She will see herself.
Mhm.
Um,
Right. Mhm.
like just one of them days is one of my favorites because it
Mhm.
talks about the frustration of motherhood
Yes.
and
We've all.
how how you love your kids,
Mhm.
they frustrate you so badly, and it really deals with the idea of feeling like you've been a bad mom. I don't know a mother
Right.
who, if she's honest with herself, at some point didn't feel like she was a bad mom.
Right. We've all been there. I'll raise my hand. We've all been there. We've all been there, right? Both of them. We've all been there, you
That
know.
turn how you messed up.
Yeah,
Had you thinking that you were the worst
exactly.
alive. And so there were times when my mom is chuckling because I'm sure I made her feel like that. And
Mhm.
but there were times when I would cry, or
Mhm.
or I just be like, "Ah, God, I'm just such a terrible mom," because
Right.
and social media, people, all the perfect mothers with the perfect
Yes.
houses and everything
Mhm.
clean, and their kids are so wonderful, and they want to go to all the football games, and they want to do all
Right.
the things. I was a mom who was like, I don't want to go to now another football game. I
Exactly.
did not want to go to. I went to them, but I didn't like. I didn't buy no jerseys with their names on. I was not the lady, the mom with my kid name on the back and the number and the team mom and
Mhm.
I was like, and so watching these people
Mhm.
would make me feel like I'm messing this up. I'm
Right.
doing something right. And those nights where, and I write in that particular piece of prose, you know how some nights they just gonna get peanut butter and jelly, and
Right.
they going to bed. That's your dinner.
Right. Exactly. You
Peanut
eating
butter and jelly
something.
and milk. Like you
Mhm.
got go to bed, brush your teeth, go bath, take a bath, brush your teeth, go to bed,
Right.
and and then you'll hear people say, children eat this, and so it will make you feel
Right.
like you're just this terrible, horrible, like Alexander, right? And the terrible,
Right.
horrible, very bad, no good day.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the mom.
Trying to be perfect.
Yes. And
Yes.
so just one of them days is a piece that I wrote to express what that feels like and
Mhm.
to encourage mothers who have like just one of them days with their kids.
Right.
Let them know that they're gonna be all right
Right.
and
And
that
it's
you're a
okay.
mom.
Right.
Absolutely,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Definitely. So if there's a mom out there, you need to get that book and yeah, read that section and yeah, just know it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay to have one of those days.
Yeah, I
Yes.
always say sit with it.
Right.
Pick up my books. You just when you see yourself,
Mm.
because you will.
Right.
When you see your situation, your life, just sit with it. Don't try to rush through it. I think a lot of times people will see my books and they'll go, "Oh, they're so small. Is this like,
Mhm.
it's so tiny?" But baby,
That's all you need.
because if I give you, if it was any bigger, it would be overwhelming.
Yes, yes, it's all you need. I keep them in the box until I get ready to pull them out when I need them. Cause yeah, they pack a lot of power. They do. They pack a lot of power. So
Yeah.
yeah, so don't let the small size fool you.
Don't let it fool you.
Do not let that small size fool you. No, ma'am.
Mm.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So, so back to as far as like with being an author,
Mhm.
and for the self-published, being a self-published author, tell us a little bit about that journey, your journey as a self-published author.
Um, excuse me.
Sure.
Okay. Well, like I said, I became a self-published author January 10th, 2018. That was the day that Amazon said you're hot.
Right.
January 10th, 2018. Like I said, I wasn't trying to be an author. I didn't know anything about publishing books or anything of that nature. I just knew that the Lord was leading me to do it. And not only was He leading me to do it, but
Mhm.
that it was urgent that I do it right then.
Right. Mhm.
So I actually Speak with Chic. Let me see. I thought I had a copy of it right here. But Speak with Chic, One Woman, 10 Truths. I actually penned it in 7 days. I
Oh,
wrote the book in 7 days.
okay. Okay.
Um, I remember it distinctively because at the time I worked a traditional job.
Right.
Sometimes I would work from home, or sometimes I go into the office. And I remember being in my bedroom. I did not do anything for 3 days straight. And I have a group of women
Right.
friends who remember that time. I didn't wash my funky butt.
I'm right hearing you tell this story before.
I had the same stanky gown on or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Pajamas on, because there was this sense of urgency,
Hmm.
like write it and write it now. And
Right.
so it took me, let me say, it took me 7 days to actually get it all published, but it took me
Mhm.
about 3 days to get it written. But the 7 days was
Okay.
write it, publish it, all the things.
Right.
And the reason that I was stuck, literally,
Mhm.
I mean, awake, no sleep, drinking coffee, like
Oh
for,
my goodness.
is because I wrote things out by hand, and then I had to
Okay.
type it, and then I had to figure out, and then I realized, okay, I got this stuff typed up, but it's supposed to be in a book. How you get it in a book? So then I realized I don't know how to format this. And I
Okay.
had to research, how do you format a book? And then you get, the internet gives you so much stuff. And
Mhm.
so then I had to figure out, and then I realized that there are different sizes. And so I was like, well,
Mhm.
what size do I want it to be? And so I had to research that and study that. And then
Oh,
I had to figure out, and back then, like now they got all these programs, but I literally had to go into a Word document and move the margins and put the numbers and program so that the margins would fit.
right.
Now you can just kind of drop it in some stuff and it'll.
Mhm.
No, I was literally moving margins and had to
Everything.
figure all of that stuff out. So not it wasn't just about writing it, but it was understanding that there's a way that a book should be. So when I my very first book, I didn't realize that your new chapters should start on the right.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that. Like there are nuanced things
Right.
about books. But many of us as self-published, a chapter will start on the backs on the left page, was not supposed to. It's actually supposed to start on the right.
Mhm.
And just so many different things that you don't,
Right.
and then you don't think about the aesthetics of it. And you don't think
Right.
about typography. And there are certain
Mhm.
fonts that work
Mhm.
better in print than do digital. I mean, all of these things, and most
Yes.
authors don't even think about this stuff.
No.
And then I was like, I have to have a cover, so I had to figure out how to get a book cover, and so I had all of these things. So that's why I was up, because I taught myself
Right.
every piece. I feel like I learned how to be a self-published author like we learned how to do math back in the day. You know, before they said you can't use a calculator.
Right. Exactly.
How I learned to be a self-published author, like old school math, and they said
Right.
calculator.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it helped give the book character. I think
Made it
it helped
tough.
me to understand the process.
Yeah.
It taught me that I can do this.
That's
There was
true.
so many things that I learned
Mhm.
and putting out that book, and
Okay.
even in doing that, the tears that I literally, like, there
Yeah.
are literal drops of tears on the paper, as I'm printing it out and reading it because I'm releasing such heavy stuff on these pages.
Right.
Yeah, self-publishing was difficult for me. I didn't have like all of these publishing companies that are out now that help you self-publish or whatever. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
know, weren't really getting that back in 2000 and 2018 and before. I guess they were out there, but people charge you so much money, and I was like, I don't
Mhm.
have any money. So
Right.
I just that's the I think that's the beauty in being a reader versus a writer.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have a problem reading and learning how to do it.
Right. Right. So you did the research and it was okay. Yeah.
And it's on the internet if you read it.
Right. And Google it and YouTube it. Everything was right there.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So I guess that what made you choose the program that you chose, Amazon, KDP, whatever, to do your book versus another program to publish your book.
KDP is the easiest, hands.
Right.
And actually, before it was KDP, it was Create Space, Creator Space, Create Space.
Okay.
When I decided to self publish, Create Space was still a thing.
Mhm.
KDP was new, and
Okay.
they were getting ready to transition out of Create Space into KDP. So you had an option. You could either like do the Create Space or you could do KDP. I just was like, if this is going to be the new thing,
Right.
I'll do the old thing. So
Mhm.
KDP was, to me, it was simple, it was easy to
Mhm.
do. Not only that, but it's connected to Amazon.
Right.
And at the time, who doesn't want their book on Amazon? Like,
Mhm.
now I have different thoughts about the company, but at the time it was easy.
Mhm.
It wouldn't take long to be published. I could get an author cut, and then the cost of printing was so it just
Right.
the best platform. And then it could be distributed. They would distribute it to all the different places. So to me, it was just a no-brainer as
Mhm.
a new self-published author to go with KDP. And not only that, KDP also for the ebook, it was so much easier because if you didn't do KDP, and I don't know what it is like now
Mhm.
because I have my system when I want to put
Right.
um but for a lot of the other ones back
Mhm.
then, you had to have an ebook like software program
Okay.
and like Cozy and all these other things. And
Mhm.
they were difficult it was just
Yeah.
so hard. So you had to like create the ebook and then you
Okay.
had to upload it to the system and all
Oh
that.
wow.
Yes, but KDP was all in one and it was
Okay.
wonderful.
Because I just started straight with KDP, so okay, so I didn't. Okay.
It,
Right.
it was a little more difficult to get it done.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So what other avenues have you found to be successful for you with getting your books out to the other markets and things like that?
If I could be frank with you, I
Mhm.
this is really the beginning of this
Right.
author journey for me. I'm
Right.
not new at writing the books and publishing the books,
Mhm.
but I'm relatively new at putting myself out there and saying, I'm an author, I have these books, and I'm going to show up as an author. Here again, like I said earlier, I never really looked at myself as being an author. It was more of me being an inspirational conversationalist. So I will get hired to speak somewhere. I will go, speak at these events, and then I would have my books.
Mhm.
Would help facilitate the conversation. So I always sold books where
Right.
wherever I was speaking. I've never really positioned myself to be an author selling books like as an author.
No.
Hence the reason
Mhm.
come on your show, because I know that you spend time, this is a platform where you really do promote authors.
Right.
I'm at the beginning of my journey in this author circuit.
Okay.
But in the past, like I said, I still wholeheartedly stick to this. And for those people who are bona fide authors, because most authors
Mm.
don't like speaking.
Mm.
Most
True.
authors, if you most bona fide shown up authors do not like being up front. They don't want to
Mhm.
speak. They want to sell their books. They're not really in the speaking thing.
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, if you want to sell books, speak.
Right.
You can get on a stage, if you can get on a platform and you can talk to people and what you have to say resonates, everybody in the room is going to want to buy your book,
Right. That's
because they
true.
want to people want to take a piece of you home. I learned that in the 6 years of being the owner of my business. I've learned that when I get in front of groups of women and they
Mhm.
hear my voice, they connect with my voice, they feel like the Lord sent you to me.
Mhm.
They ask me for my books. I don't have to even sell them. They're like, what do you have? Do you coach? Do you have programs? Do you have books? Whatever.
Right.
Why? Because they want to take a piece of you with them. They want to take that with them.
Mhm.
So for me, I spent a lot of time. I sold lots of books from being in spaces where I was speaking.
Okay.
Of course, I have my own website. I push my books through social media, things of that nature. But I'm looking forward to doing some author tours and getting back out there and just kind of seeing what the current way authors are promoting themselves. So I'm
Mhm.
to that space a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any events or things lined up in the near future?
I'm I am working on the Speak Up Sis experience featuring author Angel Charmaine,
Okay.
which merges me as an inspirational conversationalist and me as an author.
Okay.
And you've experienced the Speak Up Sis experience
Yes.
before. So
Mhm.
that's the number one thing I'm working on for 2025 is
Okay.
taking the Speak Up Sis experience featuring author Angel Charmaine on the road.
Okay.
So I get to get in front of audiences.
Okay.
I get to be who I was created to be, a
Right.
conversationalist, and I get to, talk about my books as
Mhm.
well. So that's the number one uh, goal. And
Okay.
of course, I am open to being guests on podcasts and shows. So if there's anyone watching and you'd like for me to be a guest on your show, just let me know. I'm open to it.
Okay. Great. It looks like someone wants to go on tour with you.
Listen, we can talk about it. We can definitely talk
Yes.
about it because
Mhm.
the Speak Up Sis experience has gone on tour before
Right.
to San Antonio, Texas, Savannah, Georgia.
Mhm.
We've been to Aiken,
Mhm.
North Augusta, South Carolina, been to Augusta. So we have actually been on tour before.
Right.
Um,
Right.
when we first started in 2018 and 2019. So it's kind of full circle.
Right.
go back on tour, but this time it will be featuring me.
Okay, and that's going to be a treat because I know usually in the past other people would act out your story. So this time it'll be a little different.
Yeah, well, we just incorporated the acting. You know what? What's interesting is you experienced something that I was trying with the Speak Up Sis experience, but you
Okay.
actually have never been
To
to
the
the
other one.
first ones. Oh wow!
Right. No, I didn't make it to the first one, but I went to the last one. Yeah.
So the Speak Up Sis experience featuring author Angel Charmaine will be more like the ones from the very beginning.
Okay, but I definitely have to get on and go get to one of those. Yes.
Those I did have other authors.
Okay.
Author Mary Roberts, Naomi
Okay, Mary.
Williams. We
Hmm.
had other authors who would come along, Denitra Terry.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
I would invite other authors to facilitate the conversations with me. And so here again, taking the back seat in it. But
Right.
it will be, I will be the feature
Right.
experience. Hmm. So yeah,
Okay.
you have to come out because
Yeah.
you never
Right.
experienced
Definitely.
the retro.
Right. I'm definitely gonna have to come to one of those. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, does anyone have any questions for Angel Charmaine? Let's see if anybody has any questions other than coming on tour with you.
Oh,
Let's see if
I
anyone
don't know.
have any
I'm
questions.
gonna have to reach out to Dr. Latoya. She's just so good at all the things. So
She is.
maybe
She
it can
is.
help me perfect it. I don't know. The two of us together, that might be a powerhouse kind of,
Yes, definitely.
yeah. That might be a superhero
Yes,
right
it is.
there. So I don't know.
She's lighting the fire up on all of us. So definitely.
We shall see.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is. Definitely. Well, I guess we don't have any more questions under here. So let's see here. Do you have any final words for our that you hold on. Oh, somebody wants to hear about when I met him. That's one of the favorites.
Talk about when I met him. So I have the original. I call them the retro cover.
Right.
I have the retro cover.
Yeah,
This
and
is the
I
original.
have both copies.
You got both.
Yeah.
That's what's up. This is the retro copy of when I met him, and this is, I guess, a little sidebar. I do sidebars, right?
Yes.
Um, I told you when I first started, I had to learn self publishing and being an author and marketing and all the things on my own. And one thing I didn't really understand people and
Mm-hmm.
audiences and the aesthetics of books.
Mm-hmm.
Covers matter.
Right.
What
Mm-hmm.
the cover of your book matters. And so I hired my brand team to rebrand all of my books. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why they have different covers now, because I didn't that's not my forte. So I had covers, but I didn't realize that people with my demographic would not just pick my books up with the
Right.
old covers because they didn't
Mm.
look like what they were talking about. But
Okay.
now the new covers are so much more sleek and
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. They make you want to know what's inside of them just from the cover. So
Right.
just as a sidebar for all of you who are new authors, or even if you're not new authors, don't be afraid to invest in new book covers. That's the beauty of
Mm-hmm.
self-publishing. You do not have a big engine. You do not have a traditional publishing house telling you what you can and cannot do. You can
Right.
update your book. You can update the covers. You can do those kind of things on
Mm-hmm.
your own. And if that's something that you need to do, then you absolutely need to do it. But when I met him is the second book of my conversational narrative series. Saniqua, how you doing? She says I couldn't put it down until I finished. It is. Did you see yourself, Saniqua? She
Yeah.
says I laughed, I cried, I screamed. What? Out loud, my heart smiled. Yes. Could you relate to any of the stories? Did you know any of those men? So the beauty in what when I met him, if I had to say I have a favorite, most people say they love Speak with Chic, but this is my favorite.
Mm.
This is my favorite because I flexed my writing skills with this one. The first one, I don't, I it was written more like a diary or journal type,
Mm-hmm.
essay style writing.
Right.
But this one, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna flex a little bit. And this one includes short stories. And many people, if you don't mind, because I take my time. Those of you who
Take
don't know,
your time.
slowly, many people think that it is harder to write a long novel. They think it's harder to write a long novel than a short story. That's not true.
Mm.
It takes more skill. Or I'll say it takes a different type of skill,
Mm-hmm.
like short stories, because a short story, you're having to give the fullness of a novel. You're having to give plot.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get right. You got to have intro,
Mm-hmm.
action. You got to get climax. You got to get resolution. You need characters. You need dialogue, and you've got to get a compelling story in a
Mm-hmm.
very small amount of words.
Right.
Most people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to do
Mm-hmm.
it well. Let me say that.
Right.
I feel confident in saying I believe I did that pretty well with this book. And not only that, what I also love, Saniqua, about this book is that you get full on stories,
Mm-hmm.
you have characters, you have dialogue, but there are no names in this book. Isn't that the most interesting thing?
Yes.
There are no names in this book, not one. No, that's not true. At the end, man 10. But other than man 10, there are no names in this book. So I thought, my goodness, how do you write a book filled with short stories, but you don't use
No names.
right? And not only that, each story can stand alone by itself as a story.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have like a lot of times, after people read man one, they have to sit the book down for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. It depends on a person's experiences.
Right.
Man one will stop you.
Mm-hmm.
But you can read man one and it'll be a story all by itself. You don't have to read another one. You're going to get a full story in man one.
Mm-hmm.
Read man two and you're going to get a full story in man two. Each short story can stand alone by itself. But if you read from man one to man 10, you get this fuller, more robust story.
Mm-hmm. You
Listen,
did it.
I don't care what nobody say. That's skill.
You did your thing. You did.
Pat myself on the back for that one. So
You did it.
that is why this is my favorite. This is my favorite of all of my work because yeah, I feel like I was able to show that I have a little bit of writing skills in this book.
A lot of better writing skills.
Bit of writing skills. I absolutely. Um, I love this. What would y'all like to hear an excerpt? You have to say something in the comment. Like you gotta talk.
That's a yes for me. I see a yes in there, and some tears and some yeses.
Y'all have got look at
Put
Saniqua.
some ones in the comments. Let's see some ones in the comment for some
You
yeses.
gotta, like, did they even share this out tonight?
Let us see. They tagged a bunch of people in there. Let us see some ones in the comment. Come on, y'all. Let's see some
On
ones
this
in the
good
comment.
Harold Bed's Thoughts podcast.
That's right. There, Latoya read a handsome man.
Read a handsome, what a handsome man. Ain't none of these
Ain't
called.
nobody got no names in there, no description. It's a 1, 2, 3,
You
4.
got man one, man two, man three. I was actually going to read the
Which one?
beginning of man one.
Okay, she got a 1 in the comment, but you want man
Oh,
1?
because you told them to put a one.
Yeah, I put a 1. Yeah, okay. So Nico
Nico
says
said
number 4.
4.
Yeah, so Nico says number 4.
Oh, okay, Saniqua. She says man 4. Tell me, did you like man 4, Saniqua? She put man 4. I'm like, why she chose man 4?
Peggy said yes, she wants you to read. She's on YouTube. So she's oh no, she didn't like it. Well, she's
What's that face, Saniqua?
yeah.
What was it about? So what was it about man 4 that you
Oh, she said yes.
okay.
She said
All
yes.
right, well we can do man 4.
Okay.
We can do man 4. I'll just read a little bit. I'll read a little bit of man 4. I'm not gonna read the whole thing.
Okay.
Man 4 is actually one of the longer ones. Okay, so man 4, and for those of you who've never read the book, the actual title of that chapter, the chapter is like man and a number.
Mm-hmm.
So man 4. Wait a minute, Saniqua put number 1 and she's crying. Yes,
Oh.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So Saniqua, let me tell you, there's a young lady, she was reading the book and she read man 1. She sent me a message on Facebook, inbox message. She was like, I want to fight man 1.
Oh.
She was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, what do you apologize? I was like, it's okay. She's like, I
Right.
want to fight man 1. But let me tell you the beauty. And here's the thing about writing and editing and knowing where to place things. I understood that man 1 would be very heavy.
Right.
But when you get to man 2,
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Lighten the mood.
lift your spirits.
Right.
You know? So let me just forewarn you. This book takes you on this whole roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be mad and crying, and you're gonna be in love, and then you're gonna be like, F that Negro, and then you're gonna be like, I'm telling you,
Right.
you don't just be like this, like the whole time. And then you're gonna be like, that's it.
Like, Lord. Like, Lord.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so man 4. I'm sorry. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Okay, let me take my glasses off. These bifocals. I'm sorry, but we're not in right now. Please leave us a message after the beep. Okay. I know I'm not going crazy. Let me call again because I think I dialed the wrong number. Redialing. I'm sorry, but we're not. Now I know I'm tripping. That is a woman's voice on his voicemail. And she said, we're not in, and leave us a message. Who is she? Where did she come from? And when did she and him become we and us? What the hell is going on? I do not know where the attraction for tall, full figured. Wait, can a man be called full figured? Anyway, big and tall men have always been my thing, and I don't know why. But when I first saw him, I knew we would be an item. I was fascinated by the bigness of him. and not so much his size, but rather his personality. He was rarely the best looking guy in the room. However, he always commanded everyone's attention and respect. He seemed to fill a room all by himself. There was something about his brazen smile and hearty laugh that when he spoke, the bass in his voice seemed to cause my heart to pound and rattle, just like the living room speaker used to jump in the trunk of my sister's old Honda. Bam! A few cards fell to the floor, and the table shook as he slammed his hand with the big joker onto the card table and belted a laugh. Y'all boys can get up. Who got next? I watched from my stool as I tried to blend in with the breakfast bar in the kitchen as he and his spades partner beat one pair after the other. The house was packed with people I didn't know. My friend was invited to the cookout and asked me to go along, and I reluctantly said yes. I can be a bit of an introverted extrovert in unfamiliar places with unfamiliar people. So when he looked in my direction and asked, "Do you know how to play?" I almost fell off the stool trying to look around and see who was standing behind me. He chuckled and said, "Do you and your friend want next?" As I sat stupidly staring, I hear my friend say, "Of course she can play. Come on, girl. Let's show these jokers how the game is really played." He sat on my right. His partner was on my left, and my friend was across the table from me. I dealt first. As I shuffled the deck and passed it to him to cut the cards, our eyes met, and his mouth turned up a little to the right in a grin. He was really messing with my head and my heart, but there was no way I was going to lose this game. So I turned my attention to my partner, and it was game time. There was a whole lot of back and forth, jumping up and down and trash talking, but they were not expecting me to win the last book with the Jack of Diamond. But he was really not ready for me to yell while laughing. Ha! Y'all boys can get up. Who got next? My friend and I doubled over in laughter, and we celebrated our win by high-fiving across the table. He slowly rubbed his head from back to front with the palm of his hand as he shook his head from side to side in disbelief. As he stood to leave the table, he looked at me and said, "I got next. Will you walk out on the porch with me? Let me talk to you for a minute." And just like that, the card game was over and the romance began. That is the beginning of Man 4.
Okay.
Tanika, she said, "Sis, I thought you would appreciate this one, Big Boy Thug, because
Yeah.
Toya and her husband, Big Heavy."
Man 4 was something else.
Yes, Man 4.
Yes, yes.
So that is just an excerpt from one of the chapters within When I Met Him. And you just got to read it to know who him is, to know, what
Mhm.
it's all about. But I really, this is the one that I recommend young women to read.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The 20 somethings. This is the one I recommend the 20 somethings to start with. And I also, when people say, "Well, which one do you recommend?" Um, she says, "Of course, I love her because you're a poet." Absolutely.
I feel her on that one.
Some people ask, like, which book should they read first?
Hmm.
And I tell people to read this one first because
Mm-hmm.
it gives you context for
Right.
why I needed to write the first one.
I can see that. I
Mhm.
can see that. It just tells
Yeah.
what you went through first, basically.
So I
Mm-hmm.
guess it just depends. If you want to see the healed woman first, then speak with She One Woman 10 Truths. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to see why she needed the healing,
Right.
him. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course, God, I've got questions is my Bible study. So if you get to a place where you want the same type of freedom, you want
Mm-hmm.
to heal, then get the Bible study.
Right. Definitely. And just get all three.
Yeah, get all four because you're gonna need
Right, all four of them. Right.
to write it all down.
Mm-hmm.
Write it all down. All of my books started, especially when I met him. When
Mm-hmm.
I met him, started because of my journal. So I
Mm-hmm.
created a journal, and I created the bundle, the cycles, the No More Cycles bundle, which is when I met him, and the journal, because I want women to get to a place where they will start to journal, and so that
Mm-hmm.
you can see your own cycles, you can see your own patterns,
Right.
and and potentially you'll write a book
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
from what you see. So
Right.
30 somethings, and I love it. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Ma'am. Hmm.
Mhm. Okay, well that is good. That's good. That is definitely much needed. We all need to start journaling our thoughts and so that we can learn from our mistakes and learn from our experiences. Definitely. So
Yeah.
I have thoroughly enjoyed this and I want to definitely remind you to we have to let people know where they can get your books and we're going to definitely share your website on here.
Okay.
And I have that right up here.
Thank you so
You're so
much.
welcome.
Oh,
You're
you
welcome.
asked what I would leave with people. I got so caught up in reading.
Yes, I know. And yes, ma'am, what would you like to leave with our people after we did our questions and everything?
I know. No, I always say do it afraid until you can do it brave.
Yes.
That's
Hmm.
what I leave people with. Do it afraid until you can do it brave. And typically, the thing that scares you silly to do is usually the thing that you need to do.
Right. Right.
So until you can step into a place of being strong and courageous, which is what God has called us to be strong and very courageous. He has not given us a spirit of fear, but the truth is that many of us are afraid to do things, especially the things that we don't know what the outcome is going to be. We don't know how to do it. It's the fear of the unknown, right?
Mhm.
All I'm going to say is just go ahead and do it while you're afraid, because the more you do it, the more you do things that scare you, the easier it will become for you to just step out boldly. So instead of you stepping out scared and biting your nails like I don't know
Mhm.
what's going to happen, when you do things bravely, you still don't know what's going to happen, but you know you're going to be okay.
Right.
That's the difference. Doing it afraid is doing it not knowing I'm gonna be okay, not knowing what's gonna happen, but you still need to do it. But by the time you can do it bravely, you're
Hmm.
stepping out knowing that even though I don't know what's gonna happen, I know I'm gonna be okay, and I know I'm gonna be able to conquer whatever it is that comes my way. So do it afraid until you can do it brave.
Right. All right. And you have heard her. Do it afraid until you can do it brave. And I would like to say thank you, Angel. It's been an honor to have you on sharing your story with Harabed's Thoughts. And I'm Deborah J. And I would like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We have thoroughly enjoyed you all. And don't forget, you can visit speakupsis.com/books to purchase all four of her books and support her in that endeavor. And again, we hope to have you on the show again for future times. And again, thank you all for coming on tonight. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you so much. And good night, everyone.